Well, thank you very much. A very good evening to you. Let's start by looking at the two teams. Belgium lining up with Thibaut Courtois in goal. Toby Alderweireld, Diedrich Boyata and Jan Vertonghen, the three centre-halves. Castagna, Dendoncker, Tielemans and Torgan Hazard. And Mertens and Carrasco in behind Romelu Lukaku, who leads the line. Lukaku, Belgium's all-time record goal scorer, and he scored 6 goals in the group stages of major tournaments in his career. The Belgian bench: Vermaelen, Eden Hazard and Meunier, Benaya, Benteke, Chadli, Batshuayi, Trossard, Doku, Pratt, and the keepers are Mignolet and Sells. Those that haven't made it from the squad: Witsel and De Bruyne, who didn't travel to St. Petersburg because of their injuries, and Hans van Aken is the other player that is left out of the 26. You can name a 26-man squad, but it is only 23 in the team selection for match day. For Russia, it's Shunin in goal, Barinov, Jikia and Semyonov, the three centre-halves. Fernandez and Zhirkov will drop back and will play as most conventional fullbacks in a 5 when Russia are out of possession. Zobnin and Uzdoyev play in the centre of midfield. Kozyard and Golovin in support of Artem Zhuba, who leads the line. Divyaev, Karavayev, Cheryshev, Sobolev, Zabolotny, Alexei Moranchuk, Shemaladinov, Ionov, Evgeniev, Lukin, and the keepers Jupin and Safanov are the contingent of Russian substitutes. Well, home advantage feels as though it could be very significant throughout the course of this tournament. Will it be today for Russia? In their white shirts, blue shorts and white socks, they're going to kick from right to left in this first half. Belgium, the Red Devils in all red with the black and yellow detailing on their kit. And they will defend the end away to the left-hand side in the first half as Stuart Pearce and I look at these pictures from our studio monitors. And before kick-off, the referee and Belgian players take the knee. Their Russian counterparts don't. And you can hear the reaction from the Russian supporters within the stadium. It is going to be Russia that will get the game underway, kicking from right to left in this first 45 minutes. And Belgium and Russia begin their Euro 2020 campaign. Weight of expectation on Belgian shoulders. Is this going to be their time? Finally going to be their time. Haven't reached the last 4 of this competition for more than 40 years. This in many ways the best team that they've ever had, even though there's no De Bruyne, no Eden Hazard in the starting lineup today. But will they be able to deliver this time around? Russia already pumping the ball forward into Belgian territory. Slightly nervy touch from Torgan Hazard inside his own penalty area, and immediately there is a player down injured. An awkward fall right in front of the referee, one of the Russian players just being held back to his feet. And Barinov, the centre-half, just getting himself sandwiched between Lukaku and Jikia, his fellow defender. He's okay. He's back on his feet. And it will be a free kick to restart the game. We're still inside the first minute. It is Belgium 0, Russia 0. And a reminder that live for you right now over on Talksport 2, Finland lead in Denmark by a goal to 0. In that game that is being played to a conclusion after the terrible scenes involving Christian Eriksen and the mercifully miraculous good news that followed them, that he is okay after receiving CPR on the pitch, and he is stabilised in hospital, conscious and talking. That game still has the final quarter to go. Finland leading by a goal to 0 with Joel Poyampanlo, the man that scored their first ever goal at a major tournament. But we're concentrating on Belgium against Russia tonight, with the Belgians in possession and playing out from the back. Here's Jan Vertonghen, Belgian captain, and given away as he played it forward. Tielemans receiving the pass, played it in behind Yannick Carrasco, and it's gone out of play for a throw to be taken on the Russian right-hand side. A couple of minutes in, Belgium 0, Russia 0. Delighted to say that alongside me throughout the tournament will be the former England captain, Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, really looking forward to this tournament, Jim. I think it'll be an outstanding one. anyone's tournament. I've got to say, you can pick probably 5 or 6 teams who you think have got a very realistic opportunity of winning it. And just looking at the Russians here, look as though they're playing a back 4. Don't know what your thoughts on that. You know, with speculation potentially playing a 3 at the back, but I'm not sure whether it's more of a 4, to be honest.
Well, Barinov has started in a more advanced position. The player wearing 8 has been playing as a centre-half in recent games, but he is anchoring the midfield at the moment. They have the ability to switch in and out. It was expected probably 3 months ago that they would go into the tournament maybe playing a back 4. They last played a 4 in the 3-1 victory against Malta, which was back in March. Played the warm-up games in the back 3. Mind you, we'll see from England tomorrow. They've been playing the warm-up games in the back 4. It could well be a back 3 when the tournament starts. So you can't necessarily read too much into anything these days. But it is a back 4 at the moment. Roberto Martinez. Wallace is just getting the message across to Belgian players how they potentially have to adjust their shape and tactics as a result of that. But they can bring the ball forward now with Diedrich Boyata fighting Toby Alderweireld, bringing it forward towards halfway, just allowing the ball to roll over the halfway line before finding Tielemans. Chip down towards Castagna. Castagna sprinting after it, can't quite keep it in, and almost got a ribcage full of hoardings behind the goal. He just put his hands out to stop himself having an awkward fall. It's gone out of play. It's a goal kick which will be taken by the Russians, and with 5 minutes in on Talksport at 0-0.
Yeah, I think it'll be important for the Russians that Zuba offers that big threat up front, holds it up as best he can, and brings the likes of Golovin into play.
Zuba this time would have been in an offside position as they worked it forward into him. It's interesting the way that they work it. Golovin just plays the kind of, not quite off his shoulder, but he will be the one that will sometimes be the first to go and engage. Zuba, a big target man, fearsome physical specimen. And Golovin might just make runs past him, trying to cause a few problems, give Alderweireld, who's the man that he's detailing at the moment, something to think about. And that just creates a little bit of space for Zuba, who can then try and attack Boyata. Seems to be how they're going to play it. Alderweireld goes back to Boyata. Boyata, who missed the final one of the World Cup, the final one of the warm-up games through injury. But fit to play tonight. And he's found Alderweireld. A big tattoo on his arm of the city crest of Amsterdam, where he started his playing career with Ajax. And it's worked out towards Carrasco. Carrasco playing it forward, and Lukaku showing that he wanted it into feet. He didn't get it. And Gikia can defend the space very well, and the ball goes through for Shun and the goalkeeper. Still 0-0.
Yeah, just looking at the Russians, it's Kuzayev, the left wing back, if he is a left wing back. Almost, it's a 4.5, if you like. He's playing as a left wing back, but he's tucked in on occasion. He almost looks like an auxiliary midfield player, but just offers that defensive cover if needed.
Yeah, he's a player that's very versatile. Kuzayev, he can play as a left winger, can play as a central midfielder, or he can play as a left wing back. And he's almost offering that little bit of extra protection in front of Yuri Zhirkov, who's in possession now, the former Chelsea man, pumping it forward down the left-hand touchline where Alderweireld can head it away. And then a mistake by the Belgian midfield, and Zuba will be able to emerge with possession. Golovin making an excellent run past him. Belgium got their angles right at the back to block the pass, but at the expense of the first corner of the night.
Yeah, what Zuba is a big target man. He lacks pace, and there was, once he got beyond the Belgium back line, there was no panic there. They knew exactly they were going to hunt him down for pace, and that's the threat that really Russia haven't got, that pace in behind.
0-0 in the 7th minute here on Talksport. And Golovin, the Monaco man, will go across to take this corner. Gikia forward from the back, the bearded centre-half trying to escape the shackles of his marker. It's hit him very deep, far too deep, bounces once inside the area, and then a second time before drifting straight past everybody out of play for a throw on the Belgian left-hand side, the far touchline. Belgium coming into the match in decent form, 7 wins in 9. I'd go back further than that, 31 wins in 38, which is a very creditable record. Russia, for their part, have won the last couple on home soil. 3 wins and 5 for them after going 6 without victory at one stage earlier this season. Their form's really been up and down. Back in the Nations League, they were beaten 5-0 by Serbia, which is a pretty inauspicious result, and yet they've picked up a couple of creditable wins in recent times. The ball will be worked down the Belgian left and straight out of play via a deflection. The throw that Torgan Hazard is going to take. Still Belgium 0, Russia 0. 8 minutes gone. Denmark 0, Finland 1. With Poyampalo's goal, the difference between the two teams. That live for you right now over on Talksport 2. It's the other game in this group, Group B. You win the group, you play a third-place team. If you're the runner-up, you play the runner-up of Group A, which is the Wales, Italy, Turkey, Switzerland group, which could well be Wales. That's a game that will take place in Amsterdam on the 26th. We have every game covered for you on the Talksport network, Talksport and Talksport 2 over the course of the next month. And it's Belgium that are in possession. Tielemans able to bring it forward. Play down the left-hand touchline for the Belgians. It's worked back inside their own half for Jan Vertongen. Square from him to Boyata. Now over the halfway line for Toby Alderweireld. Alderweireld chipping it right-footed out to the Belgian left, where it's controlled by Torgan Hazard. Eden Hazard's younger brother, just chesting it down, working it back again through the midfield area for Vertonghen. Clipped forward by Alderweireld. Headed on through the midfield in towards Romelu Lukaku. Overhead kick is an effective one from Zbojev to knock the ball away, and then it looks as though the boot was raised by Golovin as Tielemans threw himself at it with a diving header to regain possession. And the Spanish referees deemed it dangerous play, and it's a Belgian free kick, 0-0.
I think the only thing that Belgium have really got to guard against, Jim, is the fact of complacency, because they've beaten the Russians.
Here's Lukaku inside the area, and he scores! And it's played in by Dries Mertens, missed by the Russian backline, and Lukaku shook it down, turned it onto his left foot, and he fires it across the face of goal and in. Belgium are off and running, and it's taken them less than 10 minutes to silence the Russian fans in St. Petersburg. One sniff of goal for Romelu Lukaku, but it's not going to count. Having seen the replay, I'm sure that the VAR will look at it and say he's offside.
Yeah, I was going to say what Belgium have got to do, guard against complacency. Just as the words were coming out, Semenov offered charity to Lukaku, gifted him an effort, but it just strayed offside. But as you said before, when this group was picked, Jim, I think Belgium would have been absolutely rubbing their hands together, and also as well, if they get out the group as winners to play a third place team as well, they're in a really good position.
Well, it's a great draw till you get to the quarterfinals. Do you know what? The goal has stood.
That is unbelievable.
Wow.
Unless we've missed something there, that looked at least a metre or two offside.
Alejandro Hernandez is the VAR. It's not like the Premier League where you know that every goal is going to get checked, but there was no confirmation. We didn't see at any stage VAR doing their workings, if you like, in Nyon in Switzerland. As the ball was played forward, Lukaku was clearly in an offside position. Now it all depends on the contribution of Semyonov. If he's made a deliberate attempt to play the ball, then it doesn't matter Lukaku's starting position, if that is the case. And hopefully we'll get another replay to be able to ascertain exactly how Semyonov played it and what his contribution was, but no massive complaints as far as the Russian players are concerned. The bottom line is that Belgium lead Russia by a goal to nil. The other game incident, sorry Stu, Denmark have missed the penalty. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg missing from the spot, the Tottenham man, and Finland still lead that one by a goal to nil. But Belgium ahead in this one with 12 minutes gone on Talksport.
This is where the games get more and more cloudy, I think. The laws of the game when the ball was played, Lukaku was clearly in an offside position. Semenov's played at the ball because he knows Lukaku's behind him. Yes, he's played at the ball, and if that's what's contributed to keeping him onside, now, personally, I think the laws of the game are wrong if that is the case.
Well, that could be the only thing that has made the goal stand, that Semyonov has tried to play the ball and is played Lukaku one side as a result of that. But as you say, he's only played the ball because he knows that Lukaku is there. I suppose you need to have eyes in the back of your head and ascertain that you can leave it under those circumstances. But here's Yuri Zhirkov bringing it forward for Russia in their away kit, because despite the fact the game is played in St. Petersburg, nominally they are the away team today. The ball is played long by the goalkeeper Shunin. Zhuba's done well, heads it down for Golovin, not too much in the way of support, and he was very effectively crowded out of it by Castagna and by Toby Alderweireld, and he was judged to have taken the last touch off one of the Belgian defenders, and it's a corner.
Well, I think whichever way it's fallen, it's certainly fortunate for Belgium. They've got their nose in front now, they'll be very pleased with that, and also they probably haven't started particularly well in the game, I don't think.
Well, this is a corner that should have been a goal kick, having seen the replay. Semyonov makes his way forward. Zhikia in there as well. In comes the corner, and it's straight at the goalkeeper. It was a flying header that came in, and he covered an awful lot of ground to get there. It was Mario Fernandez that threw himself at it, but he couldn't divert it either side of the keeper. And it remains 1-0 Belgium.
Well, they've certainly got some aerial threat there. On that occasion, Golovin delivered a decent cross right on the money, and there's certainly a will to go and want to win it at all costs, I think.
Timothy Castagna working the ball forward, turn around the corner by Dries Mertens. One back by Barinov. The Russians will be able to bring it forward towards the edge of the centre circle. Fired long over the top by Semyonov, but too long. And out of play for a throw that's going to be taken on the right-hand side by Timothy Castagna. An inauspicious start for Andrei Semyonov, who was sent off against Turkey in the Nations League this season. He went to each of the last 2 World Cups but didn't play in either of them. And he makes his tournament debut and gives away a goal inside the opening 10 minutes. Romelu Lukaku's 61st for his country. 38 now in his last 34 games. And he scored 8 goals in tournament football for Belgium, which is also a national record.
I don't think it was the cleanest of finishes, I really don't, but it's just wrong-footed, the goalkeeper, and fortunately for him, if you make good runs, you get into good areas, and he was fortunate to drop to him.
Zhikia playing it out towards the Russian right-hand side where they've ridden the challenge. Zhuba's waiting in the middle, chests it down, then controls it, right-footed shot, snatched that from the edge of the D, drifts well wide from Zboyev.
Yeah, really good target play once again. It come into Zhuba, and he would have been forgiven potentially trying to crane his neck and get a header on goal, but the distance away was done the right thing, brought it down and brought his fellow player into play for a shot.
Belgium did win all 10 of their qualifying matches, and they averaged 4 goals a game in the process, whilst conceding only 3 in those 10 matches. So it was some record. Italy, the only other side to have had a 100% record in qualifying, but qualifying for this tournament seems a long time ago. Yuri Zhirkov bring the ball forward for the Russians. Played on the left-hand touchline, straight back into him from Kuzyaev. And then knocked up at the back by Zhikia. And he goes back to his goalkeeper, Anton Shunin. Shunin's long left-footed clearance, Zhuba going up for it. He towers over even the Belgian centre-halves, and he's done well to win it and work it down the left-hand side of the penalty area here. Kuzyaev making a run past him. Golovin hooks it inside the penalty area, but it's cleared by Tielemans. Russia winning a lot of the second ball at the moment. Have been on the front foot. You would argue on the balance of play don't deserve to be behind. Zboyev angling a long ball forward, and that's come off the head of Torgan Hazard, who will then keep it in, stop it going out of play for a corner. Although he lost his subsequent battle to prevent the throw. And Mario Fernandez, the Russian right back, will take it. And Russia looking good value for an equaliser at the moment. 17 gone. They trail to that Lukaku goal on 9 minutes.
Yeah, they've not been convincing, the Belgians, I don't think. They've got this early lead and they'll be pleased with that. But the Russians have unsettled them on occasion. It's been that man Zuba that's offered himself as a wonderful target up front to set up attacks.
The Tongs clearance outside the penalty area didn't really make too much ground, and it's brought back by Semyonov. And a play for another throw, which will be taken on the Russian right-hand side by Mario Fernandez. Fernandez, who scored an extra time equaliser for Russia against Croatia in the World Cup quarter-final. A game they still ended up losing, and they give him possession away, and Lukaku will be able to make his way forward, and still he goes into the brilliant challenge, forces the ball wide inside the area, still able to recycle it, works it back to the edge of the box, and then Donker skies it over the bar. Really presentable opportunity for Belgium on the counter-attack. Firstly, Lukaku going all the way himself, GT with a brilliant sliding challenge. Lukaku maintained possession for a wider position, laid it back, and it bounced a little awkwardly for Dendoncker, but he's put it way over the top.
Yeah, Shakir was left there one-on-one with Lukaku, and you knew he was taking the odd touch close to him, and you knew the big touch, the push and run was coming. And to be fair, he managed to just get there with a lunging rear guard challenge.
That's a really good piece of defending from Georgi Chiki, who actually scored against Belgium when these two sides met in St. Petersburg in qualifying. Belgium won that one by 4-1. Well, the Hazard brothers got 3 between them that day, and Lukaku was also on the score sheet, almost inevitably. And then Belgium beat Russia 3-1 when the sides then met subsequently in Belgium. Eden Hazard got a couple that day as well. He's going to have to do his work off the bench if he's going to make an impact in this opening game in Euro 2020. Still going in the match in Copenhagen, where Finland lead Denmark by a goal to nil. It is live for you right now over on Talksport 2. And a reminder that the latest news is that Christian Eriksen, having received CPR on the pitch, is, according to his agent, in a stable condition in hospital, but conscious, talking, communicating with family, which is so fantastic to hear after a horrible situation. Timothy Castanier's got possession for Belgium, who lead this through the opening 20 minutes. Toby Alderweireld wearing 2, goes back inside the centre circle, where it'll be worked by Boyata to his left-hand side for his captain Vertonghen, who's making his 128th appearance for his country today, the most capped Belgian player of all time. Now play forward into the midfield for Dendoncker. Clever little ball flick forward from Yuri Tielemans, but the goalkeeper Schunin was very quickly outside the 6-yard box to be able to clear. And Boyata will bring it down in the back, and Belgium will try and get going again. Just having more sustained spell of possession now after Russia had that 6 or 7 minute flurry where they were looking threatening around the Belgian final third.
I think what they need to do, Jim, is just take the sting out the Russians. They were getting a little head of steam up, causing the odd problem. Boyata's was looking very, very nervous at the back, and the crowd are getting right behind the Russians, driving them forward, and they need to get hold of the ball, Belgium, and really just keep possession.
Here's Vertonghen. Turns it back to his goalkeeper. And now Courtois can just play out from the back. Thibaut Courtois starting an 18th successive game at major tournaments for Belgium, which is some record. He's kept clean sheets in nearly half of them. Alderweireld. Forward towards Castagne. Castagne to Dries Mertens. Now Lukaku, whose goal was his 312th for club and country in his career. Still he's got it, Lukaku, setting it up on the edge of the penalty area for Torgan Hazard, who abdicated responsibility rather than try to put his foot through it. Just tried to pass it on, and it was half clear, but Carrasco, with his Paul Gascoigne rinse, is able to play it inside the penalty area. And now it's a shot from a tight angle from Torgan Hazard. That one's well blocked by Schunin, an important save at the near post. And Russia will be able to bring it away. Belgium beginning to look more threatening with Their attacks coming with increased regularity. Stanley knew the danger of letting Kajayev get past him with possession there, and has cynically hauled him to the ground, just pulled it down. And as a result of that, it's a free kick which will be taken by the Russians. We're midway through the first half on Talksport, and it's Belgium 1, Russia 0.
I think if the Russians can stay in the game, they might cause Belgium the odd problem, but they certainly look as though in a game where Belgium haven't really started particularly well, they've had probably 3 or 4 skirmishes in and around the box, one of them being the goal, and I think they've certainly got more goals in them tonight, the Belgium side.
Roberto Martinez stands on the edge of his technical area, almost motionless. His opposite number, Stanislav Cherchesov, who has the apparition really of a nightclub bouncer, is anything but. He is living, kicking every single ball. Ball played out to the edge of the penalty area through a crowd of players, but easily knocked away by the Belgian back line. Lukaku dropping deep again, linking up very effectively and then scooping it forward. Tielemans unable to bring it under control. Kajayev losing out, foul by Dries Mertens. No, referee says play on. Lukaku's got it, good early run to his left-hand side, and it came from Carrasco, who will now pick up possession, bottom left-hand corner of the penalty area. Tielemans trying to get into the edge of the 6-yard box, but Carrasco couldn't get it past Mario Fernandes, and it goes out of play for Belgium's first quarter.
Yeah, they look stretched a little bit, the Russians, when they're attacked, but I would probably throw that up the other end as well and say the Belgians look a little bit panicked as well when they set up through Juba.
Those are the thoughts of Stuart Pearce, former England World Cup defender. Alongside me, Jim Prout, but Mark Saggers in the chair. In comes the corner from Carrasco, which is headed away by Juba. Free man inside that penalty area. Belgium try and work it forward, but can't do so effectively. It was Dendoncker that was backpedaling, and then a crunching challenge. 2 players going up for it, heading the ball away, and then heading each other, and both are going to need treatment inside the centre circle. That was a sickening clash of heads. Timothy Castagna is the Belgian player involved, as he went up for it, and it was fearsome. Kajayev also hurt in that challenge, and he's gone down holding the side of his face, and there might be a 2 or 3 minute break here, just while both players have to undergo concussion protocol, because that was some collision. But it's Romelu Lukaku's goal. That's the difference between the two sides. We'll see a replay of it now. Lukaku in an offside position as the ball is played forward, and Semyonov making an attempt to play the ball. He certainly didn't make an attempt to play it where he did, but he did make contact as it just went through his legs, and as soon as they found that he had touched it and was trying to clear it, even though he didn't, then the goal was always going to stand, and the fact that Lukaku was a yard in behind him in an offside position was rendered irrelevant. And it's Lukaku's goal is the difference between the teams. Belgium leading Russia 1-0 after 25.
Well, I still can't get my head around, Jim, how that goal can stand. I really can't. I mean, you can't stand in an offside position right behind the defender who's attempting to play the ball and cut it out. For me, it's not a correct law of the game.
All the officials can do is implement the laws as they are written. But I agree with you that really that shouldn't stand. In the spirit when they're devising the laws, that one should be chalked off. Yeah, all the officials can do is interpret the laws as they are written, and they have done that correctly.
Well, it used to be when the ball was played, are you in an offside position? That obviously isn't the case anymore, you know, but listen, just seeing these 2 boys back up on their feet, that really was a sickening clash of heads. 2 very committed players going for the ball, eyes on the ball only.
Well, Kajayev has got a big bandage around the top of his head now. Castagna is being led away. I think he needs stitches. It looked as though there was quite an open wound that was just going down from his right eye down the side of his cheek, and he's not going to be in a position to continue. So Anthony Meunier is going to come on for Belgium. Meunier, the Borussia Dortmund man, you might remember scored against England in the World Cup third place playoff, actually has an international hat-trick to his name, the right back. Came against Gibraltar. And he will come on here. A veteran of Euro 2016 and that last World Cup campaign. This is his 10th game at major tournaments for his country. So he's on. Kuzhaev's going to battle on for Russia, but they're not happy as yet with the initial bandage that's gone round his head, and they are putting another slightly darker crepe bandage round at the top of it. So Russia restart with a numerical disadvantage. They're down to 10, but Kuzhaev's going to come on in a moment. Belgium restarting play. In fact, having said that Kuzhaev's going to come back on, I think they thought better of it, and he's not, and Russia will replace him. They're just calling for somebody in off the bench. It may be Karavayev, it could be Cheryshev. Torgan Hazard's got possession for Belgium, who have the lead. Here's Didier Boyata, Toby Alderweireld. Belgium at the moment with a power play, effectively. First ball into the feet of Meunier since he's come on. Alderweireld back for Meunier. Meunier trying to dance between two white shirts, couldn't do so. And Golovin did well to retain possession. Actually, it was a horrible ball that was played his way with pressure immediately coming from Dries Mertens, but he did well to adjust his feet and draw the challenge and get a pass played outside of his own penalty area. And Russia will be able to build from the back. The trail by a goal to nil. They're in stoppage time in the game in Copenhagen. Still Denmark 0, Finland 1. Højbjerg missed the penalty in that game for Denmark. And Finland, it seems, are going to get off to a winning start in this group. They are still playing, but in the final seconds of that game. Here's Boyata. Boyata now to Alderweireld in shooting territory, and he's pinged one in from 30 yards. He couldn't quite get the elevation right. He flashed it in. He's cleared the bar and goes out of play. The change can now be made by Russia. Kuzhaev off, and Denis Cheryshev is the man that has come on to replace him. Fans' favourite. He also scored against Belgium in qualifying, and has spent his entire playing career in Spain. He's with Real Madrid and Villarreal. He's now with Valencia, and having scored 4 goals in the World Cup, only Harry Kane scored more. He comes on. His problem has been staying fit, but he's on here, and it's an attack-minded change. Cheryshev on for Kuzhaev. With half an hour gone, Finland have held on. They've beaten Denmark 1-0. Bad result as far as the Danes are concerned, but today of all days, it just won't seem to matter. All that matters is Christian Eriksen's health. And we wish him well in his recovery. Denmark losing that game in invidious circumstances. So Finland top of this group along with Belgium at the moment. Half an hour played. Marcus 10th minute goal the difference. Now Belgium will play forward Jan Vertonghen. The defeat of Yuri Tielemans back for Vertonghen, and now to Boyata. Boyata's form with Hertha Berlin has been such this season that he's been linked with moves to several clubs outside the Bundesliga over the next few weeks or so. Here's Lukaku, who's been ripping it up for Inter Milan in the last couple of years. And as another full-blooded challenge comes in, once more players from both teams are down injured. It's Balinov, the Russian, who's hurt, and Dries Mertens is down as well.
Yeah, there's been a couple of clashes. The one thing I've noticed in these couple of games is, I tell you what, Mertens, that is a red card. I think Mertens has seen the challenge coming in. He's jumped and he's just shoved his foot down. And when you've played the game for a while, you quite realise who means to do something and who doesn't. And that was, okay, you've had a nibble at me, but as I land, I'm going to make sure I have a little bit of you.
The play's going to restart with a drop ball. VAR electing not to call for any further sanctions after that. And the camera pans to Kuzhaev sitting on the Russian bench with his head all bandaged, not in a position to play any further part. And Timothy Castagna is down in the dressing room area receiving treatment for Belgium after he was replaced in that same incident. Courtois going a long way out of his penalty area, and it wasn't the most emphatic clearance, but he found touch. That's out of play for a throw that will be taken on the Belgian left-hand side. He just took a deflection, the block challenge from the Russian forward. That's out of play for a throw that Torgan Hazard will take.
I've been a little bit underwhelmed with the Belgium so far, I've got to say. I think they've been very bitty in what they've done. They've not been consistent in any of their play, and probably very, very fortunate to have their nose in front in the game.
But they have scored, and scored for a 31st consecutive international. They found the net in every game that they played since that World Cup semi-final defeat on this ground to France back some 3 years ago. They lead today with the Lukaku goal. It certainly hasn't been a performance that caught the eye like Italy's did last night, far from it. I mean, Italy in the first half, even when it was 0-0, shot count was up in double figures and people were sitting purring about it. It hasn't been the case. It's hard to get too excited about what Belgium have mustered so far tonight, but they have the advantage. It's always worked out towards Torgan Hazard. Back from him to Yannick Carrasco. Back at Atletico Madrid after a brief spell playing his football in China. In again from Hazard. Great shape on the ball, and it's tapped into the net for 2-0. Goalkeeper punching it clear, and Meunier off the bench and on the score sheet, tapping it in from 8 yards out. Belgium have not been at their best, but they have a 2-goal advantage in St. Petersburg. What a start to their Euro 2020 campaign.
Well, the Russians, architects of their own downfall, absolutely horrific goalkeeping in my mind. Players flashed across him, he's ended up parrying it back into the danger zone straight out. Poor goalkeeping, and Meunier followed up and stroked it into the back of a goal with a goalkeeper on the floor, got a hand to it but just couldn't keep it out. They've gifted them 2 goals.
Well, it's good play from Torgan Hazard to work the ball across. The goalkeeper's surely got to catch that. If he can't catch it, most goalkeepers, 19 times out of 20, maybe even more, are able to feather the touch to make sure that it goes nearer to the dead ball line and away from the area. All he's done is beat it straight back into the 6-yard box, and Meunier's there, the right back, Johnny on the spot to tap it in, and the Belgians lead 2-0. It's a fixture which they've had the upper hand over many years, but despite the fact that there hasn't been too much between them, the levels of performance, the scoreline is an emphatic one in Belgium's favour again.
Yeah, I mean, just listen, it was literally poor defending for both goals. Belgium would be delighted, you know. What are we, 30-odd minutes into the game? I don't think they've played particularly well, as I mentioned earlier, and you're 2 goals up in a major tournament opening game. They'll be delighted with this, and it probably just shows the magnitude of the group they're in, Jim.
Belgium with another opportunity to bring it forward. Lukaku making a darting run in between the centre halves. They couldn't get there. Sliding challenge gets it away, but Meunier, the scorer of the second goal, whips it back in. Awkward one to deal with it. Hit the thigh of Barinov. It's half clear. Boyata then sticks out his right leg and pokes it away from the Russian Cheryshev. And the ball is put out of play by one of the Russian defenders, because I think he's got a problem and he's not going to be able to continue. It's Yuri Zhirkov, and I think the 37-year-old's race is run. Hurt himself in making the sliding challenge to get it away from Lukaku. Problem with his hamstring straight away when he went down. His hands were feeling the hamstring area. Maybe just opened up his knee ligaments a little as well. And whether he's going to be able to continue remains to be seen. Both sides have already lost one player to injury in this game. Is Zhirkov going to be able to continue? It's not looking good for him. We've got 3 games for you tomorrow, incidentally. Starting with England against Croatia. England's campaign off and running from 2 o'clock. The build-up starts at 12. So 2 hours of build-up. Sol Campbell alongside Stuart and myself, and Mark Saggers in the chair. 2 hours of build-up. The game kicking off at 2, and then from 4 till 5, all the post-match reaction from Stuart and Sol, and from Gareth Southgate and the headline makers as well, with our England correspondent Faye Carruthers. That's only the first part of the three-part triple header we've got. It's coming up for you at 5 on Talksport. 2 tomorrow is Austria against North Macedonia, their first game in a major tournament. And back here on Talksport, it's Netherlands against Ukraine. Kicking off 8 tomorrow night with Matt Holland alongside Adam Bridge and Dan Wingle talking through the action for that one. So 3 games for you on the Talksport network tomorrow. Meanwhile in this one, Belgium leading 2-0, but Russia with the free kick. Juba amongst the targets, heads it down, poor defending, and he's just headed it straight across the edge of the 6-yard box, but the offside flag was up anyway.
I think set plays are by far the best opportunity the Russians got of scoring. Just flagged off for offside there, but he really is a handful of a target man to hit, and it was Golovin who just tossed one up to the far post and said get on the end of it, but just timed his run not to his liking.
Lukaku playing it through the midfield for Dendoncker. Dendoncker played out to the Belgian left-hand side for Carrasco, and then worked back again. Belgium haven't reached the semi-finals of this competition since 1980. They were runners-up that year when they were beaten by West Germany in the final. The Belgian side that included Eric Carretz, who went on to be a very successful manager with PSV amongst others. Here's Leander Dendoncker through the midfield towards Toby Alderweireld. Russia have won this competition back in their days as the USSR in 1960. In fact, the early days of this competition, they had a fantastic record in it, and reached the semi-finals as recently as 2008 as well as Russia. But they've been knocked out in the group stages in 4 of their last 5 tournaments. Here's Carrasco making his way from out to in, darting through the midfield and then switching the play wide towards Mertens. Mertens and Meunier, the substitute, linking up well. Alderweireld playing it back for Yuri Tielemans, the scorer of the winner in the FA Cup final. Belgium pick up a loose ball in the midfield with Hazard, but they've lost it just as quickly. And come back for Alderweireld. Alderweireld finds Boyata in his own half of the centre circle, and then it's played for Toby Alderweireld again. Belgium leading Russia by 2 goals to 0 here on Talksport with Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce talking through the action from our studio monitors in London. Tielemans. Ball just edging its way through the centre circle and then out again to Jan Vertonghen. It's just an exercise in maintaining possession easily here. It's Alderweireld placing for. The goalkeeper came out to get it, and it was headed away from him by one of the centre half. Meunier might be able to capitalise on that as he drives forward in the penalty area and goes down. The referee very quickly waves an admonishing finger at him and says there was no foul. But defensively, they're all over the place, Russia. They really have been a huge disappointment at the back. Much has been made of the fact that they haven't been able to replace Igor Akinfeev successfully. They're shooting getting the nod tonight, but he and his centre halves were completely at cross purposes there.
They certainly were. They look a bag of nerves at the back, and it's no surprise that Belgium have scored in the qualification 3 and 4 against them. And I'm just looking at Zhirkov as well. He keeps feeling that knee, and I'm not sure he'll go on beyond the halfway mark.
Yeah, he's really struggling. Just making his way gingerly outside the penalty area. They're just having another look at the penalty incident as Meunier went down. It was Zhirkov that came across, and it was a lazy tire attempted a challenge really, and what significant contact was made. The referee just waiting for the verdict from the VAR, and play will continue with the Belgian throw. It's no penalty. I had a long look at that. Throw taken. It's a foul throw, but that never seems to matter these days. Carrasco tries to get him down by the dead ball line. It's laid back for Torgan Hazard, the corner of the penalty area. Belgium forced back by intelligent pressure down the Russian right-hand side with Zobnin. 4 minutes to go to the break, but this first half's going to be elongated probably by another 4 minutes in addition to that. Tielemans playing it forward for Carrasco. Carrasco wide to the left-hand side for Torgan Hazard. Edge of the penalty area is Romelu Lukaku. Lukaku going back for Dendoncker. Now to Carrasco again. Left-hand side of the box, worked into the feet of Lukaku. Couldn't get it to stick, and They'll be able to bring it away effectively down the right-hand touchline, Russia, but they can't get out at the moment. Even when they get possession, they're only stringing 2 or 3 passes together and they lose it. Belgium have got more of a stranglehold on the actual game, as opposed to the score, on the actual game, than they've had at any other stage. They're playing their best football now. Russia are going to have to make another change in a moment. Zhirkov isn't going to be able to continue by the look of it. And Karavayev is the player who is going to be coming on. He's stood, waiting. Next time the ball goes out of play, he will be introduced, the Zenit St. Petersburg defender. So they may well move Mario Fernandes from the right wing back over to the left and put Karavayev on the right. And both of them are naturally right-footed defenders, so it'll be interesting to see how they do make the change. But Zhirkov now makes way. He's the second player that Russia have lost to injury in this first half.
Yeah, it's been a stinker of a first half for the Russians. 2 unforced substitutions, 2 injuries that he certainly didn't want to make early on, and they've gifted 2 goals as well. I mean, it couldn't get any worse for them, could it?
Well, they have started with Karavayev playing on the left-hand side. He did play as a left-back in the victory against Malta earlier in 2021. As I say, ordinarily plays on the right, but it's coming on the left here. Here's out of Varel. Play forward towards Dries Mertens. Mertens just given a little shove there by Cheryshev. Russia win it back and then lose it just as quickly. Meunier to Carrasco, who didn't quite ride the challenges on the edge of the D. Russia thankfully smacked the ball upfield again. Russia need the half-time whistle to blow here, because Belgium are in complete control now, leading after the goals from Lukaku on 10 minutes and Meunier on 34. And they're 2 up on the day that Finland have beaten Denmark. And Wales have been held 1-1 by Switzerland in their opening game of the tournament, that we brought you live from Baku earlier. Courtois played out from the back to find Toby Alderweireld. Over about 15 yards outside his own penalty area. Works it back. Diedrich Boyata. Play forward towards Tielemans. Tielemans now towards Mertens. Mertens turning one way and then the other to find Alderweireld. Tielemans playing the way that he faces to Meunier. Meunier trying to work it down the right hand side of the area for Lukaku, and it's siphoned out of play by Jikia. A throw that will be taken on the Belgian right-hand side by Meunier, the score of the second goal. It's 2-0 to Belgium. Approaching first half stoppage time. Tielemans on his left foot, gets a shot in. Jikia blocks in and then clears. Back ball from Meunier. Mertens can't make anything happen on the edge of the box, and Russia again just happy to get it out of harm's way. And Zhub has not had a kick for 20 minutes now.
No, as I say, it's very isolated up there, and unless the ball comes into his feet, he can't offer any threat in behind. He's not that type of player, so he's got very frustrated with some of the delivery that's been sent up to him.
We're in stoppage time. 4 additional minutes at the end of this first half after the injuries that we've seen. Then Donker, Wolves player, playing it out to the Belgian left. Work back from Tielemans. Tielemans out towards Meunier. Oh, the idea was right. There's a massive space for him to run into. And he had to hit it first time to try and get Meunier in. He just got the wrong angle on the pass. And as a result of that, it was relatively easy job for Russia to shepherd the ball over the line and out of play for a goal kick. A minute goal in stoppage time at the end of the first half. And Belgium lead by 2 goals to 0. Beat Russia in the 2002 World Cup. Beat them in the 2014 World Cup as well at the Maracanã with a goal from Divock Origi early on in his career. He also beat the Soviet Union in the World Cup back in 1986. That was when Igor Belanov scored a hat-trick and was still on the losing side. We'll go back to 1982. The last time that a Russian side has beaten Belgium, when they knocked them out of the World Cup at the Nou Camp. I don't think they're going to be beating them tonight either. 2-0 Belgium. 90 seconds into first half stoppage time. Then Donker working it through the midfield into his own half for Tielemans. Back back to Vertonghen, forward towards Carrasco. Carrasco can't find a way past Mario Fernandes. Not at the first time of asking. Get a second chance maybe. Torgan Hazard takes over, and then Tielemans. Hazard then forward for Carrasco. Carrasco emerging from the challenges, staying on his feet. They even tried to wrestle him to the ground and couldn't manage that. Still Carrasco has it inside the area and got a right-footed toe poke shot in, which just cleared the bar.
Yeah, he twisted, he turned, he was outside the box, he got fouled, he got up again. You bet your bottom dollar once he got inside the box, if he got fouled, he wouldn't have gone up again. And just managed to toe poke almost his shot away, but got underneath it, sailed over the bar.
He's due a goal for his country, Yannick Carrasco. He's only scored once in just over 3 years, which was a goal against Cyprus back in 2019. That was a good moment from him.
For a player playing in his position in such an advanced way, in such a good side, that's quite disappointing, isn't it? That's really disappointing.
He scored once in the last Euros in a decent Belgian win against Hungary in the round of 16. Russia trying to get themselves back into it. Mario Fernandes inside the penalty area for Cheryshev, but Hazard, the left wing back, was back there to cover. And his clearance hits a Russian and goes out of play for a Belgian throw. And they'll just be able to run the clock down towards the half-time whistle. They've only got another 40 seconds or so to successfully navigate. Hazard drying his hands on his red shirt, wasting a few seconds and then a few seconds more. Takes the throw in towards Lukaku. Lukaku switching the direction of the attack. Now towards Meunier, who's looked lively since coming on. He's actually offered probably a little bit more than Castagna did prior to the injury. Certainly Cheryshev doesn't offer as much off the ball as the man that he replaced, Kuzyaev. And that's been part of Russia's problem over the last 15 minutes or so. Here's Hazard right at the end of the first half now for Belgium. And he's pulled back through the midfield towards Leander Dendoncker, and here's the last touch of the first 45 minutes where Belgium will feel that they've still got a few more gears that they can go up through, but the bottom line is that they lead, making the most of two acts of charity, one from the goalkeeper, one from the centre-half Semyonov, who played Lukaku on trying to play the ball. Lukaku putting that away on 10 minutes, and then Meunier off the bench and able to capitalise on a handling error from the goalkeeper Anton Shunin, and Belgium lead by 2-0 at half-time. Yeah, Belgium certainly are in control in terms of possession in the first half. It was 64-36, 7 attempts to 2 in Belgium's favour. Russia lost 2 players to injury, and they made another change at half-time. And they brought on Igor Diveyev, the CSKA Moscow centre-half, and he's replaced Barinov, who was playing in midfield. So they are going to change the shape, and they're going back to the back three that we anticipated, Stuart, they would start the game with. We're back underway. Belgium in all red with the yellow and black detail on the kit. They're kicking from right to left. And Russia with a back 5 in this second half, but the stable door and bolting horse comes to mind. Russia will bring it forward though towards the edge of the area. First sight of goal within the opening 25 seconds. It was an optimistic right-footed flighted effort from Zobnin that's gone over the junction of post and bar.
Yeah, they'll need something reasonably early, and to be honest with you, the Russians' best efforts have been aerial balls into Zuba, whether they be from set plays or open play, and he sort of sets things up back into Golovin, and off they go from there.
Belgium leading by 2-0. It's a result that will take them top of the group. And just to reiterate that if you win this group, you go to Spain and take on one of the third place teams from elsewhere. And that's a match that will take place in Seville on the 27th. And if you're the runners-up in this group, then you go to Amsterdam and you take on the team that comes second in Group A, which will be Wales or Italy or Turkey or Switzerland. Wales in action today with that 1-1 draw. Next in action against Turkey in Baku, and a victory in that game will certainly see them through to the knockout stages again. England getting their campaign underway tomorrow build up at 12 for a 2 o'clock kickoff here on Talksport. For Scotland, it's the Czech Republic lying in wait. 1 o'clock build up, 2 o'clock kickoff on Monday lunchtime with Jim White, Alex Crook and Chris Owelamo talking through that one from Hampden Park. Scotland against the Czechs in the other game in Group D, which takes place on Monday lunchtime. Jan Vertonghen's got the ball for Belgium. Working forward here for Yannick Carrasco. Back he goes for Vertonghen again. Now to Diedrich Boyata. Too much pressure coming on from the Russian forward. Zhuba, not the kind of striker. He's an effective leader of the line, but he's not one for putting a real shift in and darting between defenders and trying to get in their faces and put the pressure on. They're more than happy to let Belgium play out from the back. Zhuba paying lip service, no more than that, to trying to regain possession high up the field. Even when it comes into the feet of Vertonghen there with a slightly misdirected pass, he's only breathing down his neck. There's nothing more than that. Can't get closer either. Courtois will get it away now. High right-footed ball forward over halfway, flicked on by Lukaku, the scorer of the first Belgian goal here on Talksport. It's worked back to the Russian goalkeeper Shunin, who was at fault for the second goal. And now, played by Jikia, 4 down the left-hand touchline. Belgium get it back straight away. Tielemans is in there very strong. Zobnin's actually come off Zobnin, but the referee's given a free kick, has he? No, it is a throw, which will be taken over on the Russian left-hand side. 3 minutes into the second half. Game taking place at the Krestovsky Stadium in St. Petersburg, a magnificent arena where Belgium were knocked out in the semi-finals of the last World Cup, as we've already mentioned, but a ground where they have won since. Stuart and myself watching the game on our studio monitors in London. Ball played out to the Russian left-hand side. Chiki has done really well to slide in and stop it going out of play for a throw, and then he punts it forward for Zhuba. And Vertonghen is there to climb over him and head it away. And then it'll be played forward by Torgan Hazard straight to Mario Fernandes. Fernandes continues his run. There's a clever little nutmeg of Vertonghen from Zhuba. Back to him now from Mario Fernandes again. Zhuba trying to barrel his way inside the penalty area. Lays it off the feet of Cheryshev. Boyata can clear his lines. But he'll come straight back with the substitute Divyayev. High ball in. Not attacked with any great degree of conviction by Zhuba. Maybe thought he was offside. Courtois punched it clear. The flag is indeed up. It's a free kick which will be taken by Belgium, and it remains 2-0 with 4 gone in the second half.
Yeah, not sure whether it was offside or a little bit of a nudge there by Zhuba. Either way, Courtois done very well to deal with it. Be interesting to find out Roberto's mindset after this game. I'm sure they'll end up winning the game. If the game goes on in this vein, it'd be fair to say they've not played brilliantly. They've played well enough to win the game potentially. Or whether you just whether he draws a line under it and say, we'll get better, we've got the 3 points.
Well, with the system of the tournament as it is, 24 teams in the group stage and only 8 get eliminated from that first 24. You've only got to win a game really, and you're pretty much guaranteed that you will be through. So in essence, it is job done. Well, one of only 2 European nations to reach the last 8 in the last 3 major tournaments. And I'll be hoping to do so again, particularly with the clear pathways, we've already said, in this Group B. It's a great draw. Certainly as far as the quarterfinals are concerned, but you could meet Italy, and that will be the worry. An opportunity now for Russia to try and play out from the back. They've got to try and get themselves into this game. They've got Finland next, and then they go to Copenhagen to take on Russia. So they've only got 2 home games, and then Denmark away on Monday the 21st, which will be, you would imagine, of paramount importance. Both those sides destined seemingly to lose their opening game. Denmark had been beaten today by Finland on such a horrible day for everybody concerned. The news from Copenhagen Hospital tonight continues to be good as far as Christian Eriksen is concerned, that he is stable. Ball goes back to the goalkeeper Shunin, who stumbles as he plays it forward. Headed away then by Alderweireld. Brought down in the midfield very comfortably by Zobnin. Zobnin's right footed ball chipped out to the Russian left is taken on the chest, and an opportunity for Karavayev to make ground, and he's getting the better of Meunier. A little bit too much on the ball in though for Juba, who made a near post run to try and attack it, and sailed over his head and curves out of play for a goal kick that will be taken by Thibaut Courtois. It's Belgium 2, Russia 0 on Talksport, and here's Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, the Russians have got this ability to get the crowd off their seat and then plonk them straight back down on it near enough immediately afterwards. Just struggling a little bit with any end product, I'd say, unless it is that aerial jaw and you get a bit excited with. Apart from that, yeah, a little bit disappointed with the final pass.
Yeah, almost like someone sending 400 volts of electricity through the seat that you're sitting on. You're up very quickly, and then your momentum takes your strength back down again. Here's Hazard, finding Carrasco, bottom left-hand corner of the penalty area, clipped into what might have been a dangerous area, but it's just too far ahead of Lukaku, who hasn't actually been blessed with a huge amount of quality service tonight. And it goes out of play for a goal kick that Shunin will take, and it remains 2-0.
Yeah, that false excitement, Jim. I've heard you liken that to a Torquay performance. Is that correct?
Oh, we were sensational today. Well, we weren't, but we won. And we're in the playoff final. It was an enjoyable way to start the day, if slightly tense in the Proudfoot household. Just a week to go. Dendoncker is just being spoken to here by the referee. Golovin just found himself sandwiched between Dendoncker and Dries Mertens, and the free kick has gone his way. No Kevin De Bruyne, of course, today. No Axel Witsel either for Belgium. They've certainly missed De Bruyne. Here's an opportunity for Juba, whose shot was saved, but anyway, the referee's whistle had gone and foul by Cheryshev on the edge of the penalty area. Better from Russia. Just constructing the passes towards the edge of the box, and Cheryshev just pushing Dendoncker to the ground, the loose ball breaking for Juba, whose shot was saved. Talk about De Bruyne being out with his fractured eye socket and broken nose, and the news from the Belgian FA, I understand, is that they fear that Timothy Castagne, who went off in the first half, has also fractured his eye socket as a result of that coming together between him and the Russian midfielder Kuzyaev. And that has to cast serious doubt over his participation as the tournament progresses. Here's Juba. Played through towards the edge of the box now. Russia in a better spell at the beginning of this second half. Right footed shot comes in. It deflects off out of the rail. Loops high up in the air. Courtois sprinting to the right-hand side of his penalty area to make a comfortable catch. Stop it going out of play for a corner. And it remains 2-0 to Belgium. 10 gone in the second half.
Yeah, a situation with players, I take it replacements can be drafted in, Jim?
No, not now.
Not at this stage?
Not now they've started the first game. So here's Carrasco, left-hand side of the penalty area. Lukaku's effort is blocked. And so, if anything had happened, the Russians drafted one in yesterday because they had Mostovoy failing a COVID test. But once you got, I think it's within 2 hours of the first game. I'm not sure, and I apologise, I don't know exactly when the cut-off is, but it's about, I think, 2 hours before the first game. You're then in a position that you cannot make any further changes to your roster. They've extended it to 26 because of the COVID problems, just to try and counter any problems. But you lose a player to injury, as they've done with Castagna. That's just the rub of the green.
Yeah, it's probably fair to say that injury, a 26-man squad should cope with any injuries you pick up en route. But certainly COVID is a different matter altogether.
They're not blessed, actually, with a huge amount of cover. I mean, Meunier is the player that has come on and has scored tonight, a more than adequate replacement for Timothy Castagne. But would he to have a problem, then I don't know what they would do. They'd have to shuffle things around, and it may well be that they'd have to play Chadley as left wing back and move Torgan Hazard over to right wing back, so you then have two out and out wingers playing in your wing back position. It's all prevarication. 11 minutes gone in the second half. It's 2-0 to Belgium. Official stats show that there's only been 4 shots on target in the entire game so far. 3 of them to Belgium, only 1 to their hosts. Boyata finding out of Varel. Now to Jan Vertonghen. And he will Turn it forward here for Tielemans. Tielemans with a crossfield ball that is brought down by Meunier, the scorer of the second goal after that goalkeeping error from Schunin. Back it goes for Boyata again. Now Jan Vertonghen, just a waving Carrasco towards him, rolls the ball into his feet and it goes out of play. And it's a throw which will be taken by Belgium on the left-hand side, which isn't a decision that the Russian bench particularly agreed with. Tielemans able to get away from his marker, but unable to slide it through towards Lukaku, who made a darting run down the inside left channel. Zikia can bring it away, and then it's worked back to the goalkeeper, Schunin. Schunin's ball forward a little bit aimless, just painting by numbers, punting it forward, but hoping that Zubu is going to be in a position to do something with it, and he already looks shot. And he's struggling. In horse racing parlance, he's not going to get the trip. It looks like a 5 furlong horse that's been sent out over the Grand National course at the moment. Here's Tielemans. Tielemans on halfway, and he's lost it. An opportunity now to bring it forward. It's an excellent ball. Here is Zuber. Zuber towards the edge of the penalty area. Boyata quickly back goal side. Zuber's done well to hold it up and lay it off to his left. Zopnin making his way forward. Now played out towards Mario Fernandes. Belgium got their shake back behind the ball. 5 in a line, hoping to defend this. Tielemans stops it coming inside the penalty area. He's also looking tired. Ball played now down past him. Right hand side of the area. Cross comes in, sent away by Vertonghen, and it was Golovin with the delivery. Goes out to the Russian left. They'll recycle it with the substitute Kalavaev. Now work down the line. Zobnin trying to get it in, and it's deflected away and goes out for the first quarter of the second half, which goes Russia's way. 58 gone, 2-0 to Belgium.
Yeah, in this certainly in this game, the passing's been awry from both teams. Really, they've been sort of off the pace, and probably looking at them, both of them needed the game, but certainly Russia have been a touch more charitable than Belgium have so far.
Corner will be taken on the Russian left-hand side. Semyonov being watched very closely by Toby Alderweireld, standing right in front of the goalkeeper. Yuri Tielemans is there to volley it away from the corner of the 6 and straight out for a throw which will be taken on the Russian left-hand side. With Talksport, we'll bring you all 51 games of the tournament over the course of the next month here on Talksport and Talksport 2, including 3 of them tomorrow. England-Croatia, build up at 12 for a 2 o'clock kickoff. Netherlands against Ukraine kicks off at 8. And over on Talksport 2, it's Austria and North Macedonia, which is the 5 p.m. game tomorrow. All of those live for you. And then Scotland in action. First tournament game for 23 years at home to the Czech Republic. Hampden Park the venue for Jim White, Alex Crook and Chris Uwelemo. Monday lunchtime at 2 o'clock kickoff. Yuri Tielemans has it now. Exchanging passes with Torgan Hazard to his left-hand side. Hazard Jr., who had 3 years on the books of Chelsea but was loaned out. Did score against Greece in last week's friendly for Belgium, but only a sporadic starter for Dortmund in the Bundesliga this season. Just the 8 starts over the entire campaign. Belgium have it with Lukaku. Back to the direction of play, and he's linked it up so effectively. Finding Meunier. Meunier in towards Lukaku, couldn't turn. And centre half right on his toes. 4 again from Vertonghen. Zuber chasing after him. No opportunities really to be able to equal Alexander Kershikov's record of 30 international goals for his country. Zuber stuck on 29 at the moment. Meunier playing it wide. Dries Mertens, the diminutive dark-haired forward, wins the first corner of the second half for Belgium as he's flicked it in, and it's just taken a touch on its way through off Zdoyev, and out for Belgium's second corner of the night. 2-0.
Yeah, just saw Lukaku there, done really well pinning the centre half, and just took his eye off the ball and let it get away from him, and it's probably a sort of criticism for those that wanted to have a criticism of him in his England days, you know, when he's got his back to goal, the hold-up play, was it clean?
Alderweireld is forward, Lukaku is there as well. They're the most advanced, neither inside the 6-yard box. In it comes, it's punched away, not very effectively by the goalkeeper. Schunin seemed to mistime his punch, went with both hands and only got it with one. Well, it's gone out of play for a throw, to be taken on the Belgian right-hand side, and they're in no hurry to take it, leading by 2 goals to 0. And if Russia can't find a way back into this game, they'll have lost more matches at the European Championships than any other nation, bar Denmark. Both of them will have recorded their 15th defeat in the competition's history today. Belgium have possession. Played by Den Donker. Nice little passing triangles involving him and Tielemans and Alderweireld. Now play forward for Meunier. Mertens has drifted out to hold the width on the Belgian right-hand side the last couple of minutes. Lukaku plays it back to him. Now Lukaku will spin and go around the corner, trying to take on Zdoyev, who has dived in and fouled him. It's going to be a free kick, which will be taken by the Belgians on the right-hand touchline. They lead by 2 goals to 0.
Yeah, and they look reasonably comfortable in the game. I think from Belgium's point of view, I don't think they're playing particularly slick, so for me the best way forward for them is keep possession if they can, and they've been a bit wasteful in that department.
Well, Russia made their final change, and Zobnin has come off and is replaced in the midfield by Maxim Mukin, who's only made 15 senior club appearances in his career. And Cheryshev is off as well. Alexei Miranchuk comes on. So Cheryshev, who only came on 25 minutes in, has now been taken off. Now replaced by Miranchuk. Here Belgium will bring it forward again. And Russia are able to get it away effectively inside their own penalty area with Zhikia. I mean, Cheryshev didn't influence the game at all. But if that's not an injury and he's been hooked after 35 minutes on the field, I mean, that is going to be a huge blow to his temperament and his confidence.
It certainly is, but what I would say as well, Wossi hasn't had a great deal of impact since he's been on. I don't think any of the other Russian players have it either.
Just confirmation of those changes. Cheryshev off and Alexei Miranchuk on. And Miranchuk, the twin brother of Anton, who's not in the squad. And he plays his club football in Atalanta, does Miranchuk. They won appearance at the last World Cup and they defeat the Uruguay. And also on Maxim Mukin, who is on for his 3rd cap, all of them as a substitute. Ball has just come off him, trying to control it, flicked it up into his chin, and it's gone out of play for a throw, which Belgium take inside their own half. Work back for Alderweireld, whose ball forward is blocked, and he goes out of play for a goal kick. It's not been pretty, nothing to write home about, particularly in the second half actually for Belgium. You'd have thought they might have been able to go up through the gears. Maybe they're just deeming that there's no need. They've got the job done, 2 up inside 34 minutes, and just conserve a little bit of energy for the battles that lie ahead. But I'm not going to come away from this game thinking I've seen the tournament winners necessarily, as Juba shoves Vertonghen to the ground. It's a free kick to Belgium.
Juba is certainly an old-fashioned centre-forward in the truest sense of the word. A little bit agricultural. You certainly know you've been in a game against him.
Yeah, he puts the aggro into agricultural, doesn't he? Almost. I mean, there was no chance he was going to get the ball there. And he's just given Jan Vertonghen a little welcome to St. Petersburg. Here's Tielemans. Played forward into the feet of Den Donker. Back to Hazard. Hazard to Boyata. Boyata's an easy pass to his right-hand side. Fall for Alderweireld, whose ball forward is blocked by Golovin, and it goes out for a throw which Belgium will take inside their own half. In this second half, not a single shot on target. Only 1 attempt for Belgium and 2 optimistic ones for Russia. It's not been a 20 minutes to write home about. There will be better games in the tournament than this one, but it's a results business, and Roberto Martinez's men have the 3 points against their name at the moment.
If I was a Belgium backer, I would have 1 or 2 concerns. De Bruyne, when will he be back, and if he'll be back for the chances? And they've certainly got to play a lot better than this to progress in the tournament. I mean, if you put direct comparison between them and the Italians the other night, who they might be meeting, as you said, en route. Certainly the Italians looked a lot slicker with their passing, movement and energy.
Yeah, that is the quarter-final matchup. If both win every game between now and then, they play each other in the last 8. And De Bruyne, the talk is that he's going to be fit for the game in Copenhagen on Thursday against the Danes. That's the target for him. Here's then Donker. Donker playing a back four. Boyata. If you just joined us, Belgium have lost another player to injury today. Leicester's Timothy Castagno with a fractured eye socket. The same injury that De Bruyne picked up at collision with Antonio Rudiger in the Champions League final. Yuri Tielemans has got the ball now for Belgium, who lead 2-0 at the midway point of the second half here on Talksport. Hazard back for his captain, Jan Vertonghen. Vertonghen playing it back. Now he goes back for Courtois. Talking about Juba playing with an economy of effort at the moment, with a quarter of the game still to go. And he's got to play the full 90 minutes because they've made all 5 changes now. Tielemans plays it for Lukaku, sticking a foot in, and then the referee brings a quick halt to proceedings and gives a free kick against Dries Mertens, I think it was, in the midfield. As just threw a left arm towards the ball and brushed it, and it's a free kick to Russia. And from the game's point of view, it needs a Russian goal here, because it's very comfortable for Belgium at the moment. Few chances being created by the Russians, no jeopardy as far as Belgium are concerned, and so they can play well within themselves. 68 gone, it's 2-0.
Yeah, exactly that. They look more than comfortable, and because Belgium are not really troubling the Russians, they're almost as well just keeping possession of the ball. Lukaku, Dries Mertens flicking it off to his right hand side behind Donker, and they'll be knocked away again. Roberto will look at this with Thierry Henry and think that might end up being the worst performance of our tournament. We need it to be the worst performance of the tournament, because the normal attacking cohesion, remember they scored 40 goals in qualifying in 10 games, that normal attacking cohesion simply hasn't been there. There hasn't been any attacking cohesion at all, I don't think, Jim, and to be honest with you, the goals that they've scored are just gimmies, to be quite honest with you. So certainly from that side of it, Roberto will be very, very disappointed, but if it sharpens the focus and gets you the 3 points anyway, it might well have the desired effect. Well, I think back to several sides that have gone on and won major tournaments having had really poor starts throughout World Cup and European Championship history. And Belgium, for all the fact that they haven't really done themselves justice, are still going to win. Eden Hazard is about to come off the bench for them, and that will be a source of encouragement for the Belgian supporters. He managed to score 4 goals in his last 2 games against the Russians, and he'll be on in a moment. Played forward towards Tielemans, who can turn in the midfield. No pressure from the Russians on the ball whatsoever, even though Belgium are able to come forward now at will into Russian territory. Get within 10 yards of, almost 10-15 yards of the penalty area before Russia really applied too much pressure on the ball. They've won it back now and forced it back, but Alderweireld with his heavily tattooed arms will pick it up and just chip it square for Vertonghen, and Belgium will come again. Do you find it amazing with Eden Hazard? If someone would have said to me, we've been talking about Belgium's performance and the importance of De Bruyne, and we haven't really mentioned about Hazard having an impact, and if you would have said his time back at Chelsea, he would have been absolutely integral to not only be in the team for Belgium, but for potentially being a match winner to take them all the way to lift a trophy. Well, the fact that he doesn't start the game, even when De Bruyne is injured, he still doesn't start. Yeah. There are circumstances that have led to that lack of form at Real Madrid for whatever reason. He made only 7 league starts this season. He didn't play a full 90 minutes all season. Well, he's about to come on now. And you remember about 4 or 5 minutes ago we made reference to the challenge from Juba on Vertonghen.
And I don't know that he's going to be able to continue. And he picked up a real whack. And he's coming off. So Mertens first off, and Eden Hazard's on to replace him. And Jan Vertonghen is off as well. And is it going to be Vermaelen who's come on for him? Yeah, that seems to be the case, judging by what has just been said on the public address system. Vertonghen has come off. Vermaelen isn't on yet. But he's the only other centre-half that they can call upon, other than Jason Denayer. It's Belgium temporarily down to 10 men now. Vertonghen is given permission to come back on. The ball's put straight out of play past him, and they don't actually make the change straight away. I thought that they were going to. It was a supreme example of time wasting there from Vertonghen if he got away with that. Russia will be able to bring it forward. They trail 2-0 on Talksport with 18 minutes to go. The ball is back with Jikia. Jikia, the centre-half. Russia started with the flat back four, which not many were anticipating, but they've played a back three in the second half. Long ball swung forward over all of the heads. Chasing it was Miranchuk, but it beat him. Goes all the way through towards Courtois. Courtois bowls it out of Varel, drops his shoulder, motions that he's going to knock it square to try and force Juba to cut out the pass, and then he just takes it on a couple of touches instead. Now he works the square and finds Vertonghen, his former Tottenham teammate. Now Vertonghen will just work it down towards Torgan Hazard. Here's Eden Hazard now after Tielemans plays him in. And Hazard Senior working it out towards the right-hand touchline for Meunier. Meunier can control it. This is much better from Belgium. Carrasco trying to make his way forward, but Mukin, the defensive-minded midfielder, the teenager who came on about 10 minutes or so ago, can knock it away and put it out of play for a Belgian throw. 73 gone, Belgium 2, Russia 0.
Yeah, I think it's been an important game, this, and the minutes that Hazard's got on the pitch, you know, to actually give the manager a little nudge and say, you know what, I used to be a really, really good player. Eden Hazard on for his 108th cap. He scored against Hungary in Euro 2016, and he scored 3 goals in the last World Cup, including one against England in the 3rd and 4th place playoff. And he's on here for his 17th appearance in a major tournament in his career. But in a very different role these days, as we've been saying, after such a strange couple of years. Vertonghen playing at 40, still on. Vermaelen's receiving his last instructions. They'll make the change at the next break. Here's Eden Hazard. Couldn't quite ride the challenge just came in. It was very well timed in the midfield from De Gea. And now he will be able to venture forward. And you never know if Russia can get themselves back into the game. Not that there's been much sign of it. They might just be able to test Belgian nerves. But 15 minutes to go in this second half. Russia still waiting for their first attempt on goal since half-time. Yeah, the Russians' biggest problem right through the game is they've got no pace up front and no one to run in behind, so anything they've got to build up, it's got to be slowly, it's got to go out wide, and then hopefully someone will get a cross in for the big fella to set up play.
Here's Miranchuk trying to do that, just got it onto his left foot, and as he was preparing to pull the trigger, Boyata was there with a very well-timed challenge. Now Carrasco can go through the gears. He's got the beating of Jikia for pace. Jikia, though, had just enough of a head start to be able to slide in and wrap his left foot around Carrasco, flick the ball out of play for a throw, which will be taken over on the right-hand touchline.
I think Jiki's got that ability to grapple and slide tackle, and it covers up a multitude of sins, as I've found out over my career.
You taught him well. Well, now Vertonghen can come off, and Thomas Vermaelen will come on. An 81st cap for him. Player who played the first 4 games of Euro 2016 and then missed the quarterfinals through suspension, but he's in the 16th year of his international career now, playing his club football in Japan these days with Vissel Kobe. He's on, and they'll make a double change. So Carrasco makes way, and Dennis Pratt, another of the Leicester contingent, comes on for him. So Pratt for Carrasco, and Vermaelen for Vertonghen. Belgium changes numbers 3 and 4. One left.
I think it'd be really important as the tournament goes on, Jim, not just these first games, the amount of changes, the timing of the changes, to keep players as fresh as you possibly can to have impact.
It'll be interesting to see whether that is something that England decide to do and manage the minutes of some of the big hitters.
I was just looking at the substitutes used in the Wales game. Interestingly enough, both teams in that game, I think, only used 2 substitutions.
Here's Eden Hazard now for Belgium, who've made 4 and Russia have made 5. Hazard's been fouled. And it's a free kick which will be taken by Belgium, 10 yards aside the Russian half. Yuri Tielemans spots the ball down. Just to make sure that it's still as he puts his left hand on top of it, and then plays it back. Alderweireld's got it. Alderweireld working it forward. And back he comes again from the Belgians. Now Vermaelen can work it down the left-hand side. Vermaelen into the feet of Torgan Hazard. Torgan Hazard knocking it square. Alderweireld lets the ball bounce on the edge of the centre circle and then heads it forward for Leander Dendoncker. Dendoncker back for Boyata, and now to his left-hand side for Vermaelen. Vermaelen, tall, elegant ball-playing centre-half. Hazard, senior, is able to flick the ball through the legs of Divayev. And now we'll try and work it down towards the left-hand touchline, where Hazard Jr. has done well to keep it in. No, he hasn't, not quite. Just ran over the line and had a play for a throw. And you can tell that they're brothers because they've got the same line of dirty looks, Eden Hazard and Torgan Hazard. When something goes wrong or the decision goes against them, they've both got that old-fashioned stare. Throw taken by the Russians, but they contrived to throw it straight to a Belgian, and it'll be brought forward now towards the edge of the penalty area, towards Lukaku. Laid off now towards Tielemans. Tielemans in a central position, 20 yards outside the penalty area. Alderweireld turns, pulls back by Golovin, goes back inside his own half for Boyata. Boyata knocking it square out towards the right-hand touch. There's a nice turn by Alderweireld, just chipping it forward. Flicked on around the corner, but not particularly effectively by Meunier. And Alderweireld will keep it in again. It's 2-0 to Belgium with 11 minutes to go. Romelu Lukaku on 10 minutes. And Anthony Meunier on 34. Both after defensive errors. The first a complete miskick from the centre-half that played Lukaku on. And the second a handling error from the goalkeeper as a stinging cross came in from Torgan Hazard that he should have been able to catch or at least beat away into a non-dangerous area. And he pushed it straight to Meunier about 6 yards out, who tapped it in. Cheeky has got it at the moment for the Russians in their white shirts with a red and blue horizontal stripe mirroring the Russian flag. And now a sliding challenge comes in. Moranchuk's gone down, he's been fouled, and it's a free kick which will be taken after the indiscretion by Tielemans. No yellow cards tonight, incidentally, which is good to see. Not that many in the tournament so far. Still waiting for the first dismissal of the tournament. We've got 10 minutes to go in this one, and Belgium are going top of the group with a relatively unconvincing performance. 2-0 there.
Yeah, they'll be delighted to have got the 3 points against, a team that they beat twice in qualification, but you're always uncertain when you go up against them, especially on their own turf. But to be honest with you, both teams have been very, very wasteful with their passing, giving the ball away so cheaply, and as you say, Russia made the worst mistakes of the 2 teams, and it's cost them.
Dennis Pratt wearing 26, finding Alderweireld, now on the edge of the centre circle. It's Tielemans, easing it to his left-hand side for Vermaelen. Quick little 1-2 between Vermaelen and Torgan Hazard, and then Vermaelen goes all the way back for Thibaut Courtois. This is going to be a 50 feet in 12 games for Russia, and extend Belgium's run to only 3 defeats in 56 and 4 in 57 under Martinez. But far and away the highest win percentage of any manager in Belgium's history, but that's only a footnote to his CV really. What he wants to be is the first manager that leads Belgium to a major honour. Haven't reached the semi-finals of this competition since 1980. In fact, they've only qualified for 3 of the last 9 European Championships. One of those was as hosts.
I think as well, it shows how it changed. What did you say, 24 teams in the competition to start with? I know my first European Championships, 8 teams, that was it. And the winners were a team that didn't qualify, the Danes.
Back in 1992, they came off the beach to win it. Meunier's ball inside the penalty area now, and it's headed away. That was because Yugoslavia, all the civil war that was going on at the time, weren't in a position, having qualified, to send a team to the tournament. And Denmark took their place. And the rest is still folklore in Denmark. Belgium 2, Russia 0. Out of the round. Back towards Boyata. Boyata out of Vermaelen. It is almost harder as an established footballing nation not to qualify now for this tournament than it is to qualify, although to the Republic of Ireland at this one and Northern Ireland as well, and the Dutch at the last tournament have showed that it is possible. Free kick has been given. Meekin has been fouled, and referee Lehoff just coming across and having a word with Leander Dendoncker, who looks sufficiently contrite. It was a poor challenge, actually one of the worst of the game, and he just went in a little bit high and late with the studs of his right boot showing. So it's a free kick to Russia. Now, can they find Zhuba's head here with 7 minutes to go to try and set up a grandstand finale? It's Miranchuk who stands over it. Zhikier is forward. Viev is forward as well. Zhuba inevitably is there. Now Alderweireld is keeping a very watchful eye on him, as Zhuba's still 4 or 5 inches taller than him. In comes Miranchuk's delivery, headed away on the edge of the penalty area. Out he comes towards the right flank, Golovin. Golovin clipping it in, left-footed, good shape on the ball, and Boyata did his best to steer that into his own net. Off balance with his weaker left foot, just tried to shank it away to pull it out of play for a throw, and he steered it only about 2 feet wide of his post. Now for a corner.
Well, mentioned in the first half, he's not convinced me, Boyata, tonight, you know, and that was really, really poor defended.
Miranchuk with the delivery, a left-footed in-swinging corner. Headed away easily inside the penalty area. Brought down inside the centre circle by Karavayev. Goes back for his goalkeeper.
You can't help thinking, if the Russians had Ward-Prowse, if they could get him a passport, they would be a much more effective side.
Sure, he would take that as an immense compliment, but Portsmouth just isn't in Russia.
No.
Couldn't qualify. They'll be looking at his grandparents now as we speak, on your recommendation. It's a free kick which will be taken by Belgium in their right back position. It's fair to say, in this second half, absolutely nothing has happened. 3 attempts between the two teams, none of them on target, and that suits the Belgians, who had a 2-0 advantage just past the half-hour mark. Ball's gone out of play. Cherchesov, the Russian coach, certainly had a case that the ball had actually come off the Belgian player last. It should be a Russian throw, but that isn't the way of it. It's just being spoken to here. The referee goes across, and very respectful and mindful of Cherchesov's size, decides that a handshake is probably the best way to police the situation. And Cherchesov got the message. He gave him a stern nod.
I think he's a very good referee, this fella.
Here's Dennis Pratt bringing it forward for Belgium. Cherchesov, a giant of a man. You might remember he actually played in Euro 96. He was Russia's goalkeeper in that tournament. He played in 2 of the 3 games. Ball goes back inside the Belgian penalty area for Courtois. Courtois playing it out for Alderweireld. Is put under pressure by Miranchuk. Played forward down the Belgian right-hand side, and they've won a throw. And the referee with a shrill blast on the whistle just indicates that it is a throw and not a free kick. Taken quickly. Back for Boyata. Down for Vermaelen. 4 minutes to go. 3 more games for you tomorrow, including England against Croatia. 12 o'clock build-up here on Talksport ahead of 2 o'clock kick-off live from Wembley with Stuart and Sol Campbell joining Mark and myself at Wembley tomorrow with our England correspondent Faye Carruthers in situ as well. Build up between 12 and 2, everything covered for you, the game itself, and then an hour of reaction from 4 till 5 with interviews with Darren Southgate and all of the headline makers for you here on Talksport tomorrow. We've also got Austria against North Macedonia, 5 o'clock kickoff on Talksport 2, and the Dutch beginning their campaign against Ukraine, which is an 8 o'clock kickoff on Talksport. Boyata playing into his left-hand side, finds Thomas from Ireland. It has been almost passing for passing's sake in this second half as far as Belgium are concerned. Playing within themselves sensibly, conserving energy, just making sure that they don't allow the Russians decent possession anywhere near their penalty area, and they've been able to fulfill that part of it very effectively indeed. Famala goes back for Boyata. Boyata playing it out towards Alderweireld again. Now as it's worked forward towards Eden Hazard, it's cleared. And Belgium win the seconds, and then Donker will just flick it away from Golovín's challenge to lay it back for Alderweireld. And there are 2.5 minutes to go with Belgium still leading 2-0 as they've done for nearly an hour.
Yeah, I think Belgium would have been probably better suited just trying to keep possession like they are now.
Meunier fall for Lukaku, who slips it under the goalkeeper and in for 3. Little side-footed ball forward from Meunier, and Lukaku attacked the space brilliantly. Goalkeeper might have done better, because it seemed to creep in pretty close to him. Slipped in for 3-0. Belgium, 3 goals, 3 points, off to a winning start, but knowing that there's still room for improvement.
Yeah, poor defending there. Didn't cover the run of Lukaku, that little bit of extra pace. And the goalkeeper certainly not covered his near post, got his angles all wrong. Well taken goal by an individual that might well finish top goal scorer in this tournament.
Well, he's got himself off to a good start. 2 in this game, 5 in 5 against Russia now, and that's 20 in his last 15 competitive internationals. His 9th goal at major tournaments, only 1 in the knockout stages, but in the group stages of these tournaments he is fantastic. He's got a brace against his name tonight. Belgium 3, Russia 0, with just over a minute of normal time to go.
That's almost what he's been missing, isn't it? A decent ball played in behind. Their set-up play's been pretty poor in this second half. It's probably the first time I've seen a decent ball, a straight ball to a diagonal run, and in he goes.
A good start to the tournament for Meunier as well, off the bench, and a goal and an assist for him. Boyata with another miscue clearance back towards the edge of his own penalty area. Zuba's going in there. It's a little backheel flick on the edge of the box, and it's a free kick after a poor challenge, as Doyev is the man that has gone down. It is right on the edge of the penalty area. There's Diedrich Boyata, who committed himself. Just gave a little kick above the shin, and it's a free kick which Russia will take only 2-3 feet outside the penalty area. It's very much right of centre. Courtois, trying to protect this clean sheet, has asked for a 4-man wall, and Russia with a chance for a late consolation.
Yeah, I think if this free kick would have come before Russia's third, before Belgium's third, might have been nervous times, but this won't make any impact at all on the result, that is for sure.
Well, Miranchuk is the player that's having a look at this. 4 in the Belgian wall. Russia have got 2 in the supplementary wall, and about 4 yards from the ball. It's in from Miranchuk, and it's over the bar. An impotent effort from the Russian substitute, and this is destined to end 3-0.
I cannot believe how bad that free kick was. It literally cleared the crossbar by double the height in an attempt to get it up and down. Wow, at this standard of football, you've got to work the goalkeeper.
Almost at the end of the first, of only 2 additional minutes at the end of this game. 3-0 Belgium lead. Off to a winning start. They'll be top of the group. Finland in second. Denmark third after the 1-0 victory for the Finns in Copenhagen. And Russia will be bottom of the lot. Russia next in action against Finland, live on Talksport on Wednesday. Belgium's next game away to Denmark on Thursday. 30 seconds left in this. High ball forward, Lukaku on a hat-trick. A really strange defensive header from Semyonov. Backpedaling very quickly was the substitute Karavayev, who was able to work it back to his goalkeeper, and they clear it to halfway. Alderweireld controls it on halfway, turns, finds Boyata. Back it comes for Vermaelen. Play full by Vermaelen. And into the feet of Yuri Tielemans. 2 minutes are up. And referee Lahotte brings the end to the game. Huge disappointment as far as Russia were concerned, who fancied their chances of being able to get out of this group and may yet be able to do so, but they've already left themselves a lot of work to do. Well beaten tonight by a Belgian side who never really hit top form. But 2 goals from Romelu Lukaku, one early on, one right at the end of the game, and another from Anthony Mounier, who came off the bench to replace the injured Timothy Castagne. And Belgium, playing well within themselves, are off to a winning start. It's finished in St. Petersburg. Belgium 3, Russia 0.